Okay, if you guys were with me in class on Friday, I think, we got this far. You were supposed to do this check your understanding for homework. And look, I've got a minimum of 21.5, a maximum of 23.3, Q1 is 22.2, Q3 is 22.6, making an IQR of 0.4, and the median is 22.4. So to check to see if we have outliers, Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR is 21.6. Well, I do have a value lower than that. It's 21.5. That is, in fact, an outlier, that minimum right there. And when I go Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR, I get 23.2, and we do have a maximum that's bigger than that, so that is an outlier. If I have the data available, which you did, I check to see other things that are low numbers that are close to the minimum. None of those are outliers. And I check to see other high numbers that are lower than the maximum, and none of those ended up being outliers. So there you go. Your next thing to do is your last graph for the chapter. It is the mighty box plot. Okay, once you find the 5-number summary and you decide whether or not there are outliers, you can use these numbers to create a box plot as follows. By the way, your other numerical summary, instead of the 5-number summary, is the combination of x bar and the standard deviation. Those two alone are a numerical summary. The other one is the 5-number summary. Here's how you make a box plot, people. You get your 5-number summary. If there are outliers, consider the smallest and largest data values that aren't outliers. Those will be the minimum and the maximum of the box plot. We will put outliers on the box plot separately. You draw a number line as if you're making a dot plot that contains all of the data values. Above the number line, now this is going to, just trust me, it's going to sound funny, but here we go. You can put short vertical dashes. Short vertical dashes. You know, like this and that and that. Short vertical dashes. Above the minimum, the Q1, the median, the Q3, and the maximum. Not the outliers, the minimum and maximum that are not outliers. Number 5, you connect the dashes for Q1 and Q3 to make a box. So look, it would look like this. Connect things to make a box. From the right and left sides of the box, you draw horizontal lines out to the vertical dashes above the minimum and the maximum. So let's say this is where the minimum was, that's not an outlier. Just you draw a horizontal line, and let's say that goes up to the maximum. It looks like that. These are sometimes referred to as whiskers, as people sometimes like to call this a box and whisker plot. Number 7, if there are outliers, represent them outside of the box plot with their own dots or asterisks. You put a title above your box plot, of course, and a label below your number line, or Larson takes points from you. Okay, so we're going to make a box plot from your check your understanding you were supposed to have done over the weekend. I got a minimum 21.5. I have a Q1 of 22.2. I have a median of 22.4. I have a Q3 of 22.6 and a maximum of 23.3. Are there outliers? Yes. There is a low outlier, and it is at 21.5, and there is a high outlier, and it is at 23.3, and I'm going to make all of this fit in one box plot graph. Okay, well, I need to go from 21.5 to 23.3. I'm going to go 21 up to 24. So there'll be a 22, a 23, and a 24. That's not the best labeling, but no, that's what you get from me today. 21.5 is in the middle, 22.5 in the middle here, and 23.5 in the middle here. So I could put 1, 2, 3, 4 little tick marks in between each one of these, and I have scaled my axis. I should label it, so I'm going to put ratings. I should put a title on my graph, so I'm just going to put EPA. I don't really remember what this example is about. It doesn't matter to me that much anyway. So, looking at the data, the smallest value that is not this outlier appears to be 21.9. So I'm going to go to 21.9 and I'm going to put a vertical dash. Then I'm going to go to Q1, which is 22.2, and I'm going to put a vertical dash. Then I go to the median as 22.4. I'll put a vertical dash. That is just terrible right there. I'm embarrassed about that. Anyway, the Q3 is 22.6. There's 22.6, there's a vertical dash, and the maximum, that is not the 23.3. The next highest number appears to be 22.9, so I'll put it right there. There's my 5 vertical dashes. Connect Q1 and Q3 to make a box. Connect the outsides of the box to the maximum, minimum that are not outliers. That's basically my box plot. Now I do have an outlier at 21.5. I represent it with a dot. And I do have an outlier at 23.3. I represent it with a dot. There is a complete box plot. Median, Q1 and Q3, something that represents the IQR, something that shows that we have outliers, and you can kind of tell the shape. If that's the median, this goes a little further to the right than it does to the left. I would say this is slightly skewed to the right. Okay, next page.